What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are back onto the how-tos, and I want to kind of transition into tricks now. And so the first trick I learned as a kid after I learned how to whip was the one-hander. And so the one-hander has a ton of tricks that go along with it. You have toboggans, you have tire touches, and I don't know, you start taking off one hand and then it leads to the next, and then like you're on a no-handers, tuck no-handers, stuff like that. So we're gonna start off today with a one-hander and go from there. Alrighty, so hopefully by now you've learned how to jump, you've learned how to whip, and you have somewhat of air awareness to where you wanna start doing tricks. So my recommendation is to do all tricks that you're learning on a step up. You don't have to do them on a step up, but I recommend it because it allows you to go super high and then come down with not so much of like an impact. And instead of like a big double where you're traveling a distance, you're going up on a step up rather than on a double. So if you do have access to a step up, that'd be awesome, just for learning tricks in general. But if not, do with whatever you got, we'll go from there. Okay, so regardless if you have a step up or a double, you really want to have a jump that you're very confident on, something that you're really used to, and that it just kind of makes sense when you're in the air that you want to like start doing tricks on it. Generally, for me, it's like a jump that you hit it a few times and you're like, oh, I can hit this without even thinking about speed or anything going wrong. It's just, it works. And so you just know it. And then that's when I usually start throwing tricks. Right here we have a step up. Shout out to Bialy, Cam, and Toby for getting it dialed in. I stacked it like a while ago, and then they came in and just freaking made it so perfect. So thanks to them, we got a step up here. So I like to start these off with safety first, always. Always wear a helmet, please. Protect your brain. I also have knee pads on. It helps with, just confidence, and also if you slip a pedal, you don't want to have a gouge in your shin. So I recommend knee pads and a helmet. You can throw on other pads as well, but yeah, let's get to it. Alrighty, so we got the hardtail here. Basically, we're just gonna be hitting this jump a few times and floating. You want to be able to like pop, be confident in the air to where like almost you can become loose, and then stiffen up for the landing of a jump. In that loose period, that's when you're gonna start wanting to potentially take off some fingers. So the way I learned how to do a one-hander, it was a jump that I really, really liked, and I knew I could make it over, and I was whipping it and stuff. And so I started it off with just kind of, I would hit it, feel that unweight position, and just kind of dangle some fingers off. And then I'd hit it again, dangle some fingers off. And basically the process of most tricks that like helps a lot of people is start small and then work your way up. And so with a one-hander in specific, you could take off, I don't know, 2 fingers, 4 fingers, 5 fingers, and just kind of work your way up from there. What I generally like to do, especially if I'm like testing out tricks, I kind of just like to hover. You like have your hand in this position to where you're not closing it or anything like that. You're just kind of letting go, pulling off a little bit, and then you can grab back on. And you want to be very confident where your bars are. In the air, like I just been doing this so long that I just know where my handlebars are. Just like I'm very confident and like comfortable where I am positioned on the bike. And so basically I can let go. I don't even have to look, and I just know where my handlebar is gonna be. A lot of people, when they do start off, they kind of like to look, which, it can be helpful with knowing where your handlebar is, but at the same time, you are going to be in the air, and you also have to know where the landing is. So kind of, you got to stare at the landing, use your eyes when you're in the air, feel the unweight position, and use your peripherals to kind of let go of the hand and know where the handlebar is. So the key thing with all tricks is you want to kind of do them in this area in the air of the jump. You want to be able to like hit the lip, start going up, and then it's almost like you hit this anti-gravity part, and that's where usually you throw tricks. Another thing I want to add in that I've definitely seen some groms do is they take off that hand, and right when they do, it's like they let go and then they grab back on all like crazy and and squirrely, and you don't want to do that. The more calm you are on, especially with like taking off limbs, the easier it is going to be in the long run. So you want to jump, unweight, be calm, dangle the fingers, dangle the hand, or whatever you want to do. Kind of work your way up from there. And also for this trick, it doesn't matter which hand you take off. The only other issue is that if you're, I mean, it depends where your brake lever is, but you just have to be mindful of when you grab back on where the brake levers are. I mean, you could be doing this on a trail bike, on a hardtail, anything. It could have a front brake, could have a rear brake, or if you're like to have your brakes the moto style or Euro style, whatever you want to call it. Depends on where the brake lever is, right or left side. So just be mindful of which hand you take off. When you grab back on, you're not grabbing the brake as well. Another thing I see is that you could take off your hand in any kind of way you want to do it. It's just whatever comes natural, especially when you're first doing it. Basically, I like to tell people to just hover the hand over the bar, because you know when you grab back on, it's just like a pretty simple motion, you know, or if you're right-handed like this. But I mean, like, you go up, you can go to the side, you can dangle the ground and just kind of like let it float. It doesn't really matter. It's just the simplicity of just getting the hand off. Do it however you want to do it. Let's get to it. Let's try some and show you guys what it looks like. So as you can see, I unweighted and just let go with my fingers. For this one, I took off my hand and I just let it hover right above the handlebars. And once you've done it a few times and you're comfortable, you can start throwing it down to the ground just like that. So that's basically it. Just start off small. Fingers, and float the fingers above and then raise it higher. And then once you get comfortable with that, then you can start like dangling like I just did in that last video. Alrighty, so now that you're confident with taking off that one hand and you're just doing one-handers all day long and it's getting easy, it's time to move on to the toboggan. So the only difference between a one-hander and a toboggan is all you're doing is touching the seat and turning the bars. So what a toboggan looks like is turned bars. Doesn't have to be fully 90, it could be like a 45-degree angle. And you just grab the seat. And that's the gist of it. If you wanna do them correctly, there is a way that has to do with your feet. Depending on like if you wanna spin and throw a toboggan, then you'd more likely, if you have left foot forward, take off your right hand and grab the seat. And if you're right foot forward, you take off your left hand. I currently don't do them the correct way. I'm left foot forward and I take off my left hand and grab my seat. The only issue with that is I just can't do regular 360s and add in a toboggan, but I'm okay with that. I love doing toboggans the way I do them, so I'm just sticking with them. You can do them the right way if you want to learn them the right way. So for what I normally tell people when they're learning this, I tell them to just find the seat. You're taking off your hand, you're all comfortable. You just gotta find that seat. And you can just touch it, a little tap to the seat. I know I see some people tap their frame, which is okay. You just gotta like figure out where your seat is without looking at it. And once you find that seat, you can grab it and grab back onto the handlebars and just kind of do that over and over again. Figure out where that seat is, be comfortable getting your hand down there and then back onto your handlebar. And then you can move on to turning the bars. So when you start turning the bars, you just want to be comfortable that you can turn them and bring it back to where you originally were. A lot of people, when they do start turning the bar and they let go, they touch the seat and the bar still turned, they miss where their bar normally is. And so you gotta be comfortable with taking off the hand, turning the bar, bringing it back, and then grabbing it back on. Because if you don't do that, missing the handlebar is, it's usually straight to the face. Trying to avoid that. So practice taking off that hand, turning the bar a little bit, and then straighten out, grab back on. And then once you've gotten comfortable with that, kind of incorporate the whole thing together. You let go, grab the seat, and kind of when you actually float back, like kind of you poke the bike out a little bit, it kind of just naturally turns the bars to the side, which is perfectly fine. That's kind of generally what I do, is I just kind of relaxly throw it out there, bars turn that much, and I bring it back. So for this one, I'm just touching my seat, just like I said. You just want to practice that, reaching down, finding it. So this is normally what they look like. I'll slow it down here. So pop off the lip, bike kind of floats into you, and your knees kind of bend as you grab that seat. And then here you can see I'm pushing the bike out in front of me, nose a little dip, and then grab back on with an open hand. Alright, I'm going to break it down one more time for you guys. So here we pop off the lip, hand's already coming off. And right as I grab my seat, my bar's already turned. So I just push it out a little bit further. And then that's basically it. Open hand, grab back on, right away. Alrighty, so now that you know toboggans, you got the one-handers, you're killing it so far, 2 tricks in the last however many minutes. Let's move on to the tire touch. Alrighty, so the easiest way to explain this is kind of the same thing when you're learning how to just take off your hand. You can kind of just like start reaching slowly for the front tire. A thing to keep in mind is I like to close my fingers, and so that when I do end up touching it, it's just like kind of a tap. I know that touching a tire is terrifying. Like thinking of getting my fingers in the spokes is, gives me chills. So keep the fingers together. It'll just help you, give you peace of mind. But all you gotta do is basically let the jump take you, and just keep the front end a little bit higher than you normally would. So it's like right here, and you can just reach for it and tap. Once you get better at it, you can kind of elongate the time that you touch the tire, and you just hold on to it. You can stop it. Yeah, for the start of it, just kind of tap the bike. You're gonna hit the lip, bike's gonna come towards you, and all you gotta do is just tap the tire. Let's go do some. A lot of this trick is right off the lip. So right when your front tire leaves, you can see it's already high up in the air. And I'm taking off that one hand and I'm reaching for the tire. Basically just do that a few times. Just jump, take off the hand, try to reach for the tire and see how far you can get. So once you've touched that tire, all you gotta do is just get that hand back onto that handlebar. For the most part, the bike kind of just falls back into place when you reach for it. But you do need to use that other hand still holding on to push the bike forward. So you've touched that tire, and now you're going to use the hand holding on, push the bike forward, wrap your fingers around the handlebar, and push it out in front of you. That'll also help level out the bike and make for a smoother landing. Now on to the most advanced way of doing this trick. Now that you've been doing it for a while, all you need to do is just throw the handlebar into your lap more, let it rest on that leg, and you can kind of stretch out the arm and hold the tire as long as you can. So that's it. I hope you guys learned one-handers, toboggans, and tire touches today. Let me know if you need any help on any of these or what do you want to see next. Have a good one and stay safe. Always wear a helmet and knee pads and whatever pads you need to wear. Keep killing it. Later.